Hi, this is Sarah from Crafty Creatures, and today we are making the gingerbread house painting. We will need our canvas panel, a pencil, our paints and something to mix in, our paint brushes, and something to wash our brushes in. Now that we have our supplies, let's get started. So first, we are going to take our pencil and we're going to make a long line down near the bottom. This is our ground line, and then we're going to start drawing our house on top of it. So we're going to make sure our house takes up most of the space. If you make any mistakes, don't worry, you can erase, but try to draw lightly so that it's easier to erase. I'm drawing a bit harder, that's just so you guys can see it. Then we're going to add in a roof and a nice chimney, maybe with some smoke coming out of it. And we're going to add some icicles made of icing. And of course, this is just the way I'm making my gingerbread house. If you want to design your own, you can, but I would draw it out first on some scrap paper. You make lots of nice droopy icing. This is a very icing and snow covered gingerbread house. You can erase any lines that kind of go between your roof and your icicles. Then you can start adding in some windows and doors. Now I'm making mine with frames made of candy cane, which is a really cool idea. It looks really nice, but you don't have to draw it the same way I'm drawing it. We'll also need a nice big door. Now we don't want to make anything too small because we're going to have to paint this all in. And if you're doing any candy cane trim, make sure you draw in some lines for where your candy cane pattern is going to be. Now I'm having 3 windows in mine, but you can have just 1 or 2. And I'm making mine round, so I just made a little box and then I put my windows inside that box. Helps make them look a little bit more even. And I'm adding some more icicles along the bottom and some more candy cane trim. Now the next couple steps are bonus. We want to add in some different candy. So I'm going to add some gumdrops and a peppermint on top of my roof. And maybe some nice blocky brick shapes in my chimney. And I'm going to add some extra little peppermints along the front of my house, just for some more decoration. Now I'm going to add some lollipops, kind of like little bushes along my ground line. Again, you can decide which candies you want to draw and how you want them to be. You could make some little trees made of candies, or some different candies along the house or the roof. It's going to be your gingerbread house. Now that we've done our drawing, it's time to start painting. So first we're going to have to mix a color. So we are going to mix a bit of blue and purple together, and then we're going to add in some white. We're going to add a fair bit of white. We don't want to make it super light, but we want to make this nice bluey purple color for our sky. And then we're going to start painting. And we're going to fill in everything around our house and our decorations on the ground and our ground line. So we need to fill in the whole sky with this color. Wherever you can fit your big brush, you can use it. But in terms of all these little bitty areas, I would use a small or medium-sized brush. And be very careful to try not to go over your pencil lines too much, as this is a very dark color and it'll be harder to paint over it. Once you've filled in your sky, make sure to wash your brush really well. Then we're going to get some brown paint and some orange paint and some white to help us to make that nice gingerbread color. Now you can make it a little bit more of a darker brown like I am, or you can use a lot more orange and white to make a lighter gingerbread. The choice is yours. I think mine's like a chocolate gingerbread. And then it's time to fill in the house. Again, like the sky, wherever you can fit your medium-sized brush, go ahead and use it. But if you need to use your small brush for getting into some of the smaller spaces, use that one. Well, make sure you're using the right brush for the job. Just don't want to paint the entire thing in with a little tiny brush if you can, just because then it might take you a while. And again, like the sky, we want to be careful not to go over into some of our lighter areas too much, just because this is still a darker color, and in with our icicles and our candy cane, it'd be harder to paint over it with a light color. Now don't forget to paint in your door and any details on your chimney if you're painting your chimney in with gingerbread. If your chimney's made out of candy, you can go ahead and paint it a different color. Same with your door. My door's made out of the gingerbread though, same with my chimney, so I'm going to paint them in with my nice brown. And I'm also going to paint in the sticks of my lollipop with this brown color. Again, you can paint them in a different color depending on what kind of suckers they are and how you want them to look. So now it's going to be time to start filling in a lot of our little details and candies. So I've mixed some red with a tiny bit of white just to make it a little bit lighter, and I'm painting in my lollipops. And I'm also going to use this color to paint in my candy cane trim. Now make sure that you paint them in every other spot to keep the nice white and red pattern going. Or white and whatever other color you're using, because there's different flavors of candy canes. If you need to make an extra spot with your red, you can. I've had to do that in a couple spots here where I realized I didn't add in enough stripes. So I'm making some pastel gumdrops along the top of my roof. So I'm mixing little bits of color with a lot more white to make some light purple, pink, green, and some yellow. With the yellow, you won't have to add very much white to make it pastel because it's already a fairly light color. I would use a paper plate that we give you, or if you have a palette like I have here, or even a piece of recycled plastic you can use as a palette. Now, I'm painting my windows in like stained glass, so I've watered my paint down a bit and I'm just kind of dabbing it on. But how you paint your windows in is up to you. I'm painting in some of my other details like my door, and I'm painting my little candy on the roof. Again, how you choose to paint in your candies and decorations is going to be up to you. So now we're going to do some more color mixing, and hopefully we'll have some blue left from our sky. If not, don't worry. We're just going to make a very, very light blue. So a lot of white to just a tiny bit of blue. We don't want to leave some of our elements plain white, because then they're going to be a little bit harder to see. In this way, because our painting is a little bit darker, it's a little bit more at night. Snow at night tends to look a little bit more on the blue side. So I'm painting in my roof and my icicles, as well as my snow with this nice light blue color. And if you want to make it even lighter, you can, or you can just paint some parts of it, like some little shadows with the light blue. Now this is best done when your brown has had a bit of time to dry. I didn't let my brown paint dry too much, so I was having a hard time not getting brown paint into my light blue paint. Now I'm leaving the white of my candy canes alone, just so that it's nice and crisp. Then we're going to paint in this snow underneath for our house with this color as well. And look how much that makes the white of the candy canes just pop, just by making our snow a little bit darker. Now I'm also going to paint in my white of my chimney with this color, just so that it matches the icing on the roof of the house. Now I'm going to add some little mint candies as a kind of pathway leading out of my house, like a nice little stone path, but made out of delicious candy instead. Now for our last little fun step, we're going to dip a paintbrush in white, and we're just going to dab it on nice and rough into that wet light blue paint. It's going to kind of mix together, it's going to kind of blend together, and it'll just make a nice puffy snow effect. And that's it. Good job, everybody. These look awesome. I'll see you next time with a new painting. Bye-bye.